What's up guys, I'm Kel, Red Zone Rogue, and I'm back for some more Echoes of the New World spoilers. So this time I got another 7 cards for y'all. It mostly focuses on fire cards, but there are some pretty interesting wind attribute cards at the end, and let's kick it off with Fayle, Genius Ripoff Artist. So she is a 400/800 for 2 fire and 1 of any. She's a Resonator human. She has Will of Hope, the mechanic that we saw last time. And you can pay a fire and rest her to put a token copy of another target Resonator you control into your field. At the next end of turn, that token's controller banishes it. So I can see some fringe uses with this, maybe copying like a good enter the field effect type card like, I don't know, Captain Hook or something. But other than that, I can't really see this seeing a lot of play. Maybe a pretty good limited card, but other than that, I don't really see it all that much. It's pretty interesting. The art's really cool. But the fact that you have to use a will to rest it means that it's very hard to like pull off infinite combos with this. So there's that. It makes it not as good, and honestly, it's a good call. Especially if they want to avoid like broken mechanics. I mean, though they did let the new Priscilla through somehow. But anyway, I digress. Let's move on. So the next card is Red Riding Hood, Rainbow to the Heavens. That is a really long name. You can see the font smashed in there. She's a 400/400 for 1 fire. She's a Resonator Fairy Tale. She has Will of Hope. I imagine a lot of the Resonators will have Will of Hope or Will of Despair. She has Seal 3. This is another mechanic we saw last time. And basically the card just gets the following abilities as long as you control the seal number of magic stones. So Seal 3, just need 3 or more magic stones. And then she gains Flying and Swiftness. So how good is a 400/400 Flying Swiftness for 1? Really, really good. But you need 3 magic stones. Or you need a card that will release the seal for them. And, you know, this is a good segue into the next card. Nyarlathotep, the Realized Truth. So, she's a 400/600 for 2 fire. That's okay. That's pretty good stats. She has Will of Hope. She's a human Cthulhu. And she has Flying, which is crazy. I've never seen Nyarlathotep fly before, but I mean, that's pretty cool. And she has the Release the Seal abilities of fire cards and spells you control ability, much like the Pandora we saw from the last spoiler video. And she has another ability, 1 of any. Target J Resonator you control gains plus 200, minus 200 until end of turn. I mean, that's a pretty good ability, I guess. I wish we could target any J Resonator, so you could like use it to like machine gun kill your opponent stuff. Now it's just kind of like a okay like pump effect. And I would like to take the time to note that this art is really fucking cool. Like, that is her hair turning into like a lamprey. What the hell is going on? I have no idea. I assume that's her hair. You can see it like braiding off the side, or why is the lamprey on there? I don't know, but it's really cool. So I dig it. I dig it. All right, let's move on. So next up we have a chant with Rainbow Arrow. It costs 1 fire. It does have quick cast, which is really good. And it says this card deals 400 damage to target J Resonator. I mean, that's okay. Pretty good limited removal spell. But wait, it has more. As an awakening cost, you can rest a recovered Red Riding Hood Rainbow to the Heavens. You know that 400/400 we saw just 2 cards ago. And it deals 400 damage to each Resonator your opponent controls other than this card's target. So basically, you can deal either 400 damage to their board, or 400 damage to their board and their J Ruler. For 1, I mean, this is okay. This is pretty good for wiping up little swarm strategies. Good for maybe turbo decks, I guess. I mean, good against turbo decks. And, I don't know, it might see some fringe play. It's kind of cool. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you need to be running the Red Riding Hood Rainbow to the Heavens in order to do this. I wish the awakening cost was just rest the recovered fire Resonator you control or something. It's super specific. I get it, like flavor-wise and story-wise, that's really cool. But you have to be running that specific Resonator in your deck. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So the next one we have is pretty interesting. It is an addition. It is the Blazing Floating Castle Refarth, or Refarth. We've seen this castle before in good old Grim Cluster. So this is I already said it's an addition, but it costs 1 fire and 1 of any. And it says J Resonators you control can block J Resonators with Flying. Okay, I mean, that's interesting, I guess, if you really want to block. Blocking in a fire-type deck isn't like what you normally want to be doing, but it has the additional ability, and this is where the power comes from. It has Seal 7, that's a lot, and you can rest it, And this card deals 500 damage to target J Resonator. So once you can release the seal, maybe you're playing the Nyarlathotep that we saw a couple cards back. And I imagine you would if you're playing this card. I don't know why you'd be trying to bank on like 7 fucking Magic Stones. That's a lot of Magic Stones. Or maybe you're playing some sort of ramp deck. I don't know. Either way, this is like a pretty good like ping type effect. Ping is a magic term. It's just like repeatable damage that you can just tap to or rest to deal damage to. And Magic's usually like 1 damage. But anyway, this is 500 damage. That's, you know, not insignificant. It seems you have to jump through a decent amount of hoops to get it working, so I don't know. I imagine it's not that great, but I imagine it's like, I mean, in constructed, but it's probably pretty good and limited. It looks like a fantastic limited card, so once again, I don't know. It's not like a big hitter for me. It's cool, but yeah, limited only, I imagine. Anyway, let's move on to the wind cards. So the wind cards are what really have me excited. So the first one is Melfi, Child of Refarth. She's a rare, which is good to note. Not super important. I haven't really been going over the rarities, but a lot of the other ones went over are uncommon. Nyarlathotep was super rare, and Red Riding Hood was rare. But anyway, Melfi, she's a 100/100 for 1 wind. That's not super great. She's a Resonator, elf. She has Will of Hope, which is, you know, it's cool. And whenever another elf enters your field, put a +100/+100 counter on this card. I think this card is going to be fantastic for Wanderer Elves. It's basically like a turbo deck, but with like a ton of elf synergy. I have a video of it. I will include a link to the video in the description below, and there should be an image around here of the video. But anyway, Wanderer Elves. Yeah, I think this is going to be a fantastic card for that deck. Maybe a fantastic card in that deck. I'm going to have to test it out and see if it's actually worth running, because that deck already uses Wiseman of the Winds, which is an 800/600 for 2. And this is like a 100/100 for 1 that can get bigger over time. So it's that get bigger over time thing. Like, I'm gonna have to test it out to see like if it's actually worth it and will get big enough by the time the game ends, because Wanderer games tend to go pretty quick if you have not played Wanderer. So even Wanderer Elves, you can smash and kill your opponent by like turn 4. So we'll see if this is good enough. I imagine it is. Also, like, it just looks gorgeous too, like most of the stuff. Anyway, next card. So the last card I have for you today is the Gale Force Pursuer, Christy. She's a 500/600 for 1 and 1 wind. That's pretty good stats. She's an elf. She's Will of Hope. And when this card enters your field, you can remove target Darkness Resonator from the game. That's pretty good. I would say this is a pretty good like sideboard card, especially for your elf type decks. I might even run this, you know, as a 1 of or 2 of in my Wanderer Elves sideboard. So yeah. I mean, she kind of stays in flavor with the whole Christy thing. Like, she used to just murder only vampires, but there's not a whole lot of vampires these days, so she murders darkness stuff. That's pretty cool. Stays in flavor. I think it's a pretty good, like, silver bullet type card. Pretty good sideboard card. All in all, I like it. Alright guys, so those were today's spoilers. Stay tuned for the next batch of spoilers coming up, I imagine, in the next few days. I'm not sure their release schedule, but it's been pretty quick. And I cannot wait for the rest of the set, and I'm really hoping for some sweet Resonator J-Ruler action next time. Specifically the J-Rulers. I want to see some sweet J-Rulers. And I imagine you guys do too. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you guys next time.